One of the most important things when looking at Civil War battles is understanding the underlying ideas that influence the tactics and decision-making on the field of battle. Hello everyone, my name is Thompson Dasher. I'm a fellow with the Civil War Institute at Gettysburg College. Today I'm standing just north of town on Howard Avenue, in between the town itself and Oak Ridge, just to my north. I'm going to be taking a look at one specific unit and the underlying ideas that influenced that commander's decision-making on the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg. Right here is the 1st Ohio Light Artillery Battery I. It's under the command of Captain Hubert Anton Casimir Dilger. Now, if you couldn't tell by the name, Dilger was a German immigrant, like many of his fellow officers in the 11th Corps. Dilger was born in the German province of Baden in 1836. He was educated at Karlsruhe Military Academy, which was a hotbed for individuals who would go on to participate in the 1848 revolutions in Germany. Some of his contemporaries included Franz Sigel, Friedrich Hecker, and Gustav von Struve. Now, after his service at the academy, Dilger found his way into the Grand Duke of Baden's horse artillery, where he began to develop new innovative tactics for the use of artillery. At the academy, he had been exposed to the revolutionary ideas of free thought. The whole point of this revolution was a democratic pushback against the monarchy that had ruled the German states for centuries. And these ideas quickly found their way into military minds such as Dilger's. Now, after a few years of service in the Duke's artillery, Dilger obtained a leave of absence and made his way to the United States. He settled in Ohio and, at the outbreak of the war, joined the 1st Ohio Light Artillery. He served in numerous actions throughout the first few years of the war, with particular note at the Battle of Chancellorsville 2 months before here at Gettysburg. As there at Chancellorsville, he would earn a Medal of Honor citation years later. Now, if we had more time to talk about his exploits at Chancellorsville, we certainly would, but we are here at Gettysburg, and we're going to explain exactly how these ideas of free thought manifested in his battlefield decisions. Now, Dilger arrived on the morning of July 1st with the rest of Major General Carl Schur's division, south of town. He was initially deployed on Cemetery Hill, where he came under fire from Confederate pieces over on Oak Hill. Now, he decided to advance to confront these guns. Lieutenant William Wheeler of the 13th New York Battery was ordered to support him. Dilger used this ingenious leapfrogging technique, where Wheeler would provide covering fire for Dilger as he would move up. Then when Wheeler would move up, Dilger would additionally provide cover for him. They took up position in this general vicinity here where I'm standing. Wheeler in the 13th New York Battery's monument is just down the road to the east of where I am now. And they made multiple advances towards the Confederate artillery up on Oak Hill. And they were able, from Dilger's records, to make quite an impact, disabling pieces, holding off their fire for a good portion of the morning, while the rest of the 11th Corps was battling it out up here north of town. Now, unfortunately for Dilger, casualties did begin to mount. He lost a good number of horses, which greatly affected his mobility. Now, as he was moving about, he wasn't following direct orders. He was choosing the ground that best suited his purpose, and he would instruct Wheeler to do the same. And it was through these actions that he was able to hold ground for most of the day here. But eventually in the afternoon, he was forced to retire back to his initial position on Cemetery Hill. Dilger was applauded for his efforts here by both Major Thomas Osborne, the 11th Corps' Chief of Artillery, and Brigadier General Henry Hunt, the Union Army's Chief of Artillery. Osborne said, During the short struggle, both batteries changed positions several times and did so with excellent results. and in the best possible manner. Captain Dilger using much judgment in the selection of his several positions. And Brigadier General Hunt writes, Captain Dilger several times changed the position of his batteries with excellent effect, selecting his ground with judgment. So here we have an interesting case of a small unit commander exercising his own judgment free of the chain of command in order to produce the best possible results on the battlefield. Now I'm going to head over to Cemetery Hill and look at Dilger's actions on the second day. Not as involved, but still something interesting to take a look at. About 5 p.m. on the evening of July 1st, Dilger and his battery were forced to retire to their original position here on Cemetery Hill, where they would be waiting out the rest of the battle. However, they weren't quite out of the action just yet. On the morning of July 2nd, they noticed a number of Confederates moving towards their position. These skirmishers would be attempting to probe the Union flanks to gauge the strength for the afternoon attack that would follow. Now, Dilger's battery was here facing to the west, and they saw Confederates advancing through the field. Now, one quick-thinking Vermonter up here on Cemetery Hill tried to take matters into his own hands. In this letter from a sergeant in Dilger's battery named Greenleaf Fisher, we get an interesting story about this small encounter on the morning of July 2nd up here. This Vermonter, allegedly a sharpshooter, was able to get around the flank of these Confederates who were hiding behind a pile of straw and tried to start picking them off. However, he wasn't very successful. Now, Dilger quickly decided to fire one of his guns personally to try and disperse these Confederates. And Fisher writes about this in his letter. He says, along about 11 o'clock in the forenoon, our captain shot at the straw pile with one of our guns several times. He shot into it once and made the Rebs scatter. Then this sharpshooter would pop it to them when they would get up to leave. He tumbled several of them. So here's another example of Dilger, quick on his feet, exercising this idea of free thought, taking matters into his own hands to protect his men and eventually drive the Confederates off the field. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos from the Civil War Institute on this Facebook page. Thank you.